Howdy everyone, Jeff Bartsch here with Story Greenlight. Welcome to the stream and welcome to Story Greenlight, where we're all about empowering creators like you to tell the stories that you care about the most. I will say this is a bit of a departure from what I've done in the past up to this point, because mainly we've been talking mostly about creative video editing and storytelling skills, and I got this thing in my head where I was, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Suffice it to say, based on the feedback that I've been getting about the topic that we're going to be talking about today, it's very possible that I'm going to be shifting the branding of this entire channel to include things more than just creative video editing and storytelling skills, because really we are all about empowering you to tell the stories about you that you care the most. So let's get into it. Here's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the mental blocks to making money on YouTube. Now, yeah, the idea of making money as a video creator can be exciting, it can feel impossible, and it can feel anywhere in between. And the thing is, there is a lot of stuff up here in our heads, especially as creative people. Everyone has loaded assumptions about money and worthwhile of ourselves as people, and especially is our content worth it. And we've all had a lot of bad experiences with people wanting money and not realizing and respecting the dynamics that go along with that. And so, you know, it's easy to start asking questions like, you know, is it possible for me to earn money at all on YouTube? Is it, you know, am I going to look like a sellout if I start selling things? Or even, do I deserve to make money from my videos? You know, we have this thing where it's like, well, I love doing this. I genuinely love the act of creating and sharing that with people and helping people get where they want to go. Is it okay to earn money from that? For myself, just for the record, the answer is a resounding yes, and I'm going to be telling you why, some of my thoughts of why I feel that for myself. And my goal for the end of this, for this stream, is not to convince you to change your mind per se. I just want to, I would like to offer some new ideas, some ideas that will probably be new to most of you, but not all of you, I'm sure, because frankly, there are a lot of really smart people and very experienced people in terms of business and content creation. So that's the idea of what we're talking about, and here's why this matters to you. A lot of creative people, as I said, they have a lot of creative crap floating around in our heads, and if you get your head and your heart, aligned in a way that works for you as an individual, as a creative, and it works for your audience, you can bring about exchanges of value, including money, that will spread your message and it will genuinely change people's lives. That's why this matters, because the idea of money and how to generate income, how to generate wealth, and do all that sort of thing, it is a skill, just like riding a bike. So that is the idea of what we're going to be talking about and why it matters. We're going to pop into the comments just to make sure that we're working okay. I always want to make sure I check in to see if anyone's yelling at me and say, I can't hear you, I can't see you, and all that. So, in case you are new to the channel, my name is Jeff Bartsch, and this is my background. I am a television editor. I've built my career around editing broadcast TV for a whole bunch of folks. I have personally contributed to thousands of hours of finished television seen by people literally all around the world, and I've gotten a lot of practice doing something that I love, and I love helping people like you, move forward in your storytelling skills with creative video editing and storytelling skills and all the other stuff like what we're talking about today that goes along with that. So if you are new to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button and make sure you ring that bell thing so you get notifications for new videos and for streams like this. Now, the other thing that I want to be clear on, I haven't talked about this much yet. My creativity does not exist in a vacuum. I've spent the last 10 years of my life working on building online businesses. I've started multiple businesses, shut down some of them, and I'm right in the middle of the building stage of another one, the story Greenlight, whose channel you're watching right now. And I've learned a lot. I've banged my head against the walls more times than I care to admit. Thankfully, I didn't need too many marks. They're just like virtual marks. And I want to be able to help you and share what's working and what doesn't work. And so that you can create sustainability for yourself and for your audience. So that's the deal. Now, got a question for you. Gonna play a clip, a video clip for you right now. And I want to ask you what you think about this. Here we go. You might recognize this guy.
Something that very few people know is that for me, YouTube wasn't about the AdSense. In fact, I didn't monetize my first 100 million video views. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 100 million views, and I didn't monetize, and it's because YouTube for me was just something that I loved doing. So by not monetizing it, made sure that I was doing it for the right reasons.
So here he is, Casey Neistat, something that you may or may not have known. He did not monetize. He chose to not monetize his first 100 million views. Now, because, and one of the main reasons that he's saying he did that was because he wanted to make sure that he was doing YouTube for the right reasons. Now, I am certainly not here to bash on Casey Neistat because the dude is freaking amazing. Huge respect for him. Here's the thing that, while you're thinking and typing about your reactions to that and why you think that, I would be curious, this is the thing that really bugs me about this. So many people look up to Casey and they hear him say, I want to make sure, like I'm holding off making money from my content because I want to make sure that I'm doing it for the right reasons. And you know what? I think that ends up being a very convenient scapegoat for people who don't want to learn about how content, about how selling and generating money with your content works, or frankly, they're just scared. And so they get to hide behind St. Casey of Neistat and say, oh, well, I just want to do it for the right reasons. Therefore, I won't do it at all. Well, let me tell you something. I really feel that's a cop-out. And we're going to be getting into the whole numbers of why AdSense, the fact of the matter is I ran the numbers on 100 million views. I was talking with Tim Schmoyer yesterday about the average range of AdSense revenue per 1,000 views. And according to Tim, he says, like, dude, it varies wildly. Like, if you want to spitball about the reasons, if you want to spitball the average amount of money that a creator gets paid from 1,000 views, you could say it's around $2 per 1,000 views, which it can actually range between like a dime, like 10 cents, all the way up to $15 per view. But the big sloppy rule of thumb is $2 per 1,000 views. So if you take 100 million views that Casey waited to monetize his content, and put that with that average of $2 per 1,000 views, that's $200,000. Now, the fact of the matter is, Casey Neistat probably gave up $200,000 of revenue from Google AdSense. And the reason why he's probably not freaking out about that is because he's already operating at a very, very high level. And the guy started a business called Beam, sold it to CNN for $25 million. So, and that's the level that he's rolling. So frankly, in Casey's case, it's probably not a huge deal to not make 200 grand off monetizing 100 million videos. But again, I just really, I hurt. I really get frustrated for all the good-meaning, well-intentioned creators who see Casey and listen to Casey, and they never step out and figure out how to make income generation work for themselves so they can continue doing this. So that's part of my rant. I want to hear what you guys think about this. What do you think about Casey and this whole thing we've been talking about? So let's jump into the comments here. Okay. Yes. Thank you for the heads up, folks. I realized that I didn't have my I didn't have my earbuds plugged in, so we're actually rolling from the built-in mic, and my computer's fan is rolling. So hopefully things are better now. I'm assuming that it is. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, Lindsay, you're in my neck of the woods just 2 weeks ago. Very cool. What brought you here? Be curious to know. There's some background hiss. Yes, there is. Okay. Howdy, everyone. Howdy. Forgive me if I've made the decision that I can't stay focused on delivering value to everyone if I keep doing what I'm doing and say hi to every single person and answer every single comment. Like, you guys are so cool. You're dropping so many comments. I can't do it anymore. So please do not feel offended if I miss a question or miss a what's up. But I will say specifically to Flyride, your response to my email was very thought-provoking. Dig your thoughts, man. Audio fixed. Oh, look, Rasmus is here. Holy moly, guys. Okay, I'm going to shout out Rasmus Flensburg on the chat here. If you have, he put together a piece basically telling a semi-fictionalized version of his life living in Copenhagen and as an actor. If you go to Rasmus's channel and check out how memories are made, holy moly, filmmakers of every flavor should watch this and say, this is what a short film should look like, and this is what a short film should feel like. Holy moly, so incredibly genuine, so good. So glad you made that, Rasmus. Let's see, audio much better now. Good, good, good. Okay. So Corolla. Corolla in Paris. I know that clip, and absolutely agree. I'm not monetizing. I'll rethink when I get to 1 million. So let's talk about this, guys. Why do you agree with Casey? Like, in terms of, like, why do you want to not monetize? And what's that threshold? And what would change when you get to that threshold? That's what I'm wanting to pick your brains on here. Blake, Kirby. Howdy, man. Took me almost 8 years to hit 10 million views. I don't have time to wait for 100 million. Fair enough, man. Hey, so I don't know off the top of my head. Are you monetizing, Blake? And what's your thought process behind that? And when did you switch, if you made a switch at some point? Director's logbook. Didn't monetize my first music channel because I didn't want to make money from my music. I monetized my current one, but lost that when 4,000 hours came in, and I'm actually happier now. Okay, fair enough. I'd be curious to know more about why you didn't want to make money from your music. I have a suspicion. I have an idea, but I'd be curious to know. MP Langer Art. If one needs the approval of others and falling into the trap of the right reasons is a good way to rationalize that. Yes, agreed. I mean, and frankly, we're going to be talking about this in a little bit, just the idea of perfectly legitimate, reasonable explanations. And they're usually masquerading as something else that we don't want to admit. Debbie's Design Diary. Hey, Debbie. Debbie has a very successful channel running around DIY design. I've always monetized, she says. However, YouTube AdSense is a very small percentage of revenue for me, less than 5%. I use YouTube to drive traffic to my website and grow a strong business because of my YouTube content. That is so cool. May your kind abound on the earth, Debbie. More of Debbies in the world. Lindsay, husband had helicopter training, so went out for vacation on Hermosa. Sweet. She rocks. Hello from Canada. Howdy. Flyride says, good for Casey, but yeah, I don't think it's very reasonable to say provide all value for free. If that were the case, I'd ask my employees to work for free. Yeah, how well would they take to that? Let's see. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Mitch, for the good call on the new flow. Let's. You know what, Mitch? I'm working on the ideas from Luria Petrucci. So the format that I'm working with here is straight off of her collab with Tim Schmoyer. Rasmus, I'm blown away. Thank you, Jeff. Seriously, check out Rasmus's stuff. So good. Lewis is here. Good to see you, bro. Okay. All right. So, yeah. I mean, let's talk about this. I mean, there are a lot of people who like to hide behind the ideas of these behind mental blocks. They like to hide behind the idea of, well, for one thing, artistic purity. Somehow they feel like they are. Somehow they feel like they're more legitimate if they're starving artists. And frankly, I find that attitude distressing. What is wrong? Like what? I got to get more specific because I could just like vent and rant on this stuff for a while. So let's actually specifically dig in here to the mental roadblocks for making money here. And by the way, if at any point these ideas are helpful to you, just do me a favor and show that by hitting the thumbs up button. Tell the algorithm gods that there's good stuff happening here. So there are all sorts of mental blocks for going on to for making money on YouTube, and one of the big ones is people want to rely on AdSense. And here's the thing: when people think about making money, so often it comes down to like, and this applies not to just creatives. This applies to anyone. If you talk about earning money or generating wealth or generating income, we always end up operating by a model of what we know. And if we don't know any model other than AdSense, like you put up content on YouTube, YouTube sends me checks if they feel like it, then that's the model that everyone goes with. It's the only thing that they know. But let me tell you, it's a terrible business model for creators in general, just because, number one, relying on AdSense, that is, at best case, it is tiny, tiny money. So going back to Tim Schmoyer's estimate of like rough ballpark $2 per 1,000 views for AdSense income, at best case, if you have, say, a video with 100,000 views, that means you get a check for $200. Now, $200 is better than a kick in the head. Let me tell you, that's, but that doesn't get me very excited. And comparing to the potential income that all of you have with the content creation that you're doing, that should not, $200 should not get you excited either. Just for $200 right there. And let's blow this up a little bit. Say you have a genuine viral video that hits 1 million views at $2 per 1,000. At $2 per 1,000 views, that's $2,000. Now that's 10 times better than $200. But man, that won't even pay my mortgage out here in Los Angeles. LA's a pretty expensive place. You know, it's if I'm going to build a business model around that, I need to be working on something that gets me a better return on my effort than the peanuts, relatively speaking, that AdSense brings in. And so here's the thing, like you need to find, here's the bigger issue. Relying on AdSense is falling into a trap that is so easy to fall into. It's the idea of waiting for other people to choose you, waiting to be chosen. I did a video recently called Why You Should Choose Yourself. That is linked in the description below. And it's one of those things where it is a huge mental shift that has affected the way I approach my career, the way I approach my content creation. It's the idea of, so often we sit around waving our hands and say, hey, I'm doing this thing, please pick me, please pick me. It's like we're back in elementary school and it's recess and we're just standing hoping and praying that we get picked to be on the cool team, and for the love of God, please don't let us be the last person. The way to change that is to stop waiting for people to choose us and say, this is not about waiting to be chosen. This is about me choosing me. This is about you choosing you. And that is one of the huge reasons that relying on AdSense is not going to get you where you want to go, because you have zero control over which advertisers, well, you have very limited control over what advertisers are going to be buying your ads. You don't know how often people are going to click on those ads. You don't even get the full cut of money from the advertisers. I mean, YouTube takes its cut, of course, because that's what YouTube is. It's a business. It's figured this stuff out. And it's just like on every level, the creator is waiting to be chosen, waiting to receive a check, hoping and praying to get a check in the mail or digitally from YouTube, if YouTube so deigns that they are willing to do that. That is a terrible business model. So the solution to this is you need to find a solution that provides value for your audience such that they will give you money for it. And we're going to be getting into that more as we move on from here. Going to jump into the comments, see some thoughts. Okay. Karen Summers, I'm not monetizing because I don't match the criteria yet. Neither do I, frankly. I'm about halfway with the channel to the watch hours. I have the subscriber numbers in place. It's the getting the watch time that I'm still working on. And frankly, were I to be a daily vlogger like some of the folks here, watch time gets taken care of pretty quickly. But frankly, I don't have that kind of bandwidth in my life and to do that and still accomplish everything that I'm wanting to do, like actually building a business. Rasmus says, I think in general that Casey is one of a kind in many ways, like his way of prioritizing his life. I would totally monetize as soon as I can, would only be motivation. Yeah. I mean, Casey is definitely he's an outlier. Millions of people wanting to be him, but Casey is he's a very cool cat. He's a very unique person. Let's see. Basically, it's a free channel. Corolla in Paris. To me, I assume I won't get to 1 million followers, so basically it's a free channel. Well, this isn't about having 1 million followers. This is about having 1,000 followers and 4,000 hours of watch time within a year. And once you get over that threshold, it's like, okay, well, do you want to turn on that monetizing or not? Which, of course, Corolla goes on to say, I hate the 5 seconds of advertising before a video and wouldn't want to subject my viewers to it. See, and that's a legitimate point. I saw a video of someone who was saying that you need to be careful about your brand. Do you want your brand to be subjecting people to advertising? I'm like, you know what? If you're on a free platform, people better get it into their heads that if you're consuming something for free, then you are the product. So either get used to watching ads or pony up for the paid YouTube service. That's my thought on that. You know, let me stop down for a second, just because I've talked about upgrading, like playing. How do I say it? The idea of not comparing yourself to other people, but always wanting to compare your previous self to your current self and just try to one-up yourself. This is what I've been working on. This is a new lighting setup. I got a nice little China ball here in the old edit bay. This is me on my lunch hour. There's my lunch. Here's my Avid edit suite here. So if you'll pardon me, this thing is sagging. One sec. Be right back. And we're back. Okay. Let's see here. Plug you back in because this eats up a lot of juice. All right. Terry Anderson says, Clapton loves what he does and is highly paid for it. Damn straight Eric Clapton is good at what he does and he loves it. Pay the man. That's what I want to start banging into all of your heads. It's like if you love what you do and you're good at it and you're providing value to the world, that value exchange should involve, you should be open to that value exchange involving money. Going to be getting into that more in a second. Let's see. Terry Anderson, Jeff, would you consider a weekend seminar? Absolutely. What are you thinking? Let me know what you're thinking. Chris Floyd. Hey, howdy, dude. Good to see that. Waiting to be chosen. Flyride. Adsense is oddly reminiscent of welfare. It's the modern, tricked out, shiny Google. Creators living on the Google dole. How about that? Yes. Let's see. Director's logbook. I feel one of my personal mental blocks is that I worry my audience is low income, and then I would feel guilty charging them, and then I feel anyone on higher income wouldn't see me as valuable. You know, that's a legitimate concern. A lot of people who have been in my circles over the years that I've been learning about business building, they say, it's like, dude, YouTubers are broke. That's what everyone says. YouTubers are broke. And it's like and the fact of the matter is, like, if you're doing a gaming channel and your primary audience is 13-year-olds, well, yeah, they are. But man, not to put too fine a point on it, intelligent people, like the people watching this, like seriously, your average age, according to the analytics on the back end of the channel, you are between like your late 20s into mid 40s, and there's some folks in their 50s and 60s. You are intelligent, you are articulate, and most of the times that means you do have some disposable income. So, you know, and I would say that to encourage you in your channels. It's like, just that when people say that YouTubers are all broke, or like people who watch YouTube are all broke, it's like, no, it's just not true. Let's see. So the idea of feel guilty charging them and then feel anyone on higher income wouldn't see me as valuable. That is a legitimate concern. The idea of, you know, do you place your prices low or do you place them high? Because there is an element of a higher price point on goods and services means that, well, that automatically means that people assume that it's of greater value. There is a very strong correlation to that. And, you know, there is no easy answer to that, certainly not right now. But that's a legitimate thing to think about, and you have to consider who your audience is and what they want and what they would find valuable and what they would be willing to exchange for that financially. Let's see. Add outliers to the affiliate links, since you mentioned it, says Lindsay. Well, shoot, I should totally do that. Although I love outliers, I love Gladwell, though I wasn't specifically referencing that, but I totally will now since you brought it up. Put outliers in link. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see. Yeah, Rasmus says, I'm used to the 5-second ad roll in the beginning, so no longer take notice of whose channel I'm watching. I believe it's normalized by now for most audiences. That's kind of what I feel. That's kind of what I feel. Karen says, I'm not in it for the money. I like using this platform for my videos to get exposure for my clips. And that's totally legitimate too. That is, you know, if that's why you're here, then it's important that you are forthright with that. And it's also important that you don't get any of this other stuff back in your head, Karen, saying, but I really wish I could generate some more income. Because if there's a voice back in your head saying, it's like, man, what would it be like? How would my family's life change if there's an extra stream of income coming in from something that I love to do and I'm already doing it? If there's anything like that in your head, then this stuff is worth considering. Let's see. Terry Anderson, I say we fly in and learn. For some of us, may spark questions in a live situation that may not come in a live stream. Duly noted. Cool. Let's see. Chris says, well, Lindsay says, Gladwell has some excellent work. He is so insightful. Really dig his stuff. And Chris Floyd says, I agree, we need to really define our audience. If not, I think we end up creating content that simply adds to the noise. 100%, man. So let's go back. Let's talk about more mental blocks. Let's talk about another big mental block to making money on YouTube. And that is the idea of selling. We feel like selling is lame, dirty, beneath me, manipulative, just overall blech. And you know what? The fact of the matter is, we have so many examples, all of us, we have so many examples of being sold to in a really crappy, lame, dirty, manipulative way. And the thing you end up feeling like, it's like, well, if that's what selling is about, if that's who I have to be and that's what I want to do, then forget it. I don't want to be the slime ball offering things for sale. And I will tell you, it's like being at a party, and especially in a semi-professional scenario or at a convention. There's always that guy walking around. It's like, hey, hi, how you doing? My name's Bob. Hey, here's my business card. What's your card? Let me get your card. It's like, oh yeah, good to see you. Okay, bye. Good, nice knowing you. Okay, we'll be in touch. Let's do lunch. It's like, don't be that guy. Who gives a rat's ass about Bob coming up to you and just not caring who you are or what you want or how he can be of service to you? I mean, all he's looking is to take and take and take, and then he moves on. And that's the kind of person that gives selling a bad name. I will say, I've spent a lot of time learning about sales and learning about that, learning in that sort of world, and not even within the creative industries. Started about 10, 12, 11, 12 years ago, I started learning about real estate investing, and it was actually because of a book that I read that I will be recommending to you at the end of this stream. Well, heck, I'll just show you right now. This book on the right, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, What the Rich Teach Their Kids About Money That the Poor and Middle Class Do Not. I read that book. That book turned my brain inside out. I was sitting in my edit bay. I'm like, what am I doing trading my hours for dollars? I want to do something that helps me get paid more than once. And so Kiyosaki loves, like, he's a big guy who's into real estate. He's like, go to a local real estate club. And so I went to a real estate club, and this guru gets up on stage in his fancy suit and says, imagine your life if you could get big fat checks. Imagine the people that you love. How would their life be different if you could get big fat checks? Wouldn't it be amazing if you could just get lots of big fat checks? And everyone's like, yes, we want the big fat checks. Yes, we do. And he's like, okay, well, pull out your credit cards and go to the back and buy my product. And that is a classic. Man, if you've ever been to real estate seminars, that's the classic thing. That's what gets really old. But it so often is an example of manipulative selling. But the thing is, I realized that it took me a long time to realize that it's not just about the big fat checks. You have to align yourself with who you are, what you want, what the value you have is, and what people want that value. And just because you can do this thing and put in the work, by the way, a lot of work, man, sorry, brain skipping. It's like just the idea of like, hey, there's this process. Anyone can do it. You can do it. Put in the work and you can get big fat checks, you know. That is not good enough. It's not, because 9 out of 10 times, unless you're very self-aware and you know that this is something that you are very well, that aligns with who you are, it's not going to work. 95% of people who go to real estate investing seminars don't ever do a single deal. So that's just a point of reference, you know. So there's a lot of truth behind, like, a lot of times selling does feel lame, dirty, and beneath me and manipulative because I don't want to be associated with all that crap. And so here's the thing. What I've come to realize is that there are two fundamental differences in selling approach. And I would urge you to consider this for yourself. There is a huge difference between manipulation in selling versus inspiration for selling. That is a big deal in terms of how people who have value to bring and they offer it for sale, for financial return, what is their mode of operation? Are they being manipulative, or are they wanting to inspire you to improve your life? That kind of a thing. And I realize those two sides are not completely mutually exclusive, but in broad strokes, that's what I've seen as the difference. Because a lot of this stuff with the manipulation, manipulation plays on the psychological triggers that we all have. We all have them, and the very best salespeople whose main goal is to say, hey, my number one aim is to get the money out of your wallet, Mr/Ms. Prospect, and get it into my or my boss's bank account. If that is their number one goal, they will do whatever, you know, if the salesperson is getting paid on commission and if they don't sell, their kids don't eat, well, then they will do whatever they have to do to make that sale, including manipulating you with your greed. And that encompasses so much different stuff. The idea of the idea of greed for power, greed for sex, and the greed for just straight up having a lot of money. I mean, those are powerful, powerful motivations. And it's really tough to know. It's really tough to know when a sales pitch is using those motivations. It's really hard to know whether their motivations are genuine. So often they're not, and we've all experienced that. Now, if you want to talk about the idea of inspiration, professional salespeople will tell you, professional salespeople will tell you, and this is based, and this is backed up by peer-reviewed research in the psychological world. We are far more, on average, we are far more concerned about losing something that we have as opposed to gaining something that we don't have. That is just a foundational psychological state of being that we all exist in. Therefore, the fear of losing something is always going to be more likely to make more sales than wouldn't it be cool if, or if you take advantage of this opportunity, imagine what your life could be like if you did this, and that kind of a thing. So that's a challenge, because if your number one goal is to make as many sales as possible, no matter what, the idea of using inspirational sales pitches, it is likely that it will not perform as well as if you poke and pry on the negative stuff, on the psychological triggers that make us all jump up and say, oh, yeah, I want that. Or it's like, yes, I want that. You know, it's like, so that it's powerful stuff. But here's the thing, inspiration is based on providing a solution for the genuine benefit of the buyer. You have an exchange of value. That is what it's all about, is the exchange of value within your motivation as the person who's offering something in exchange to begin with. So, for instance, everyone thinks that YouTube videos are free. It's just not true. YouTube videos are exchanges. Now, there are exchanges on multiple levels, but at a very foundational level, like you go to YouTube, you click play on a video, even whether it has an ad in it or not, that video is not free. The exchange is the creator offers a piece of content to you, the viewer, and you, the viewer, exchange your time and attention. Now, just because you don't pull out your wallet doesn't mean, I mean, there's not a financial exchange, but just because, but there's absolutely an exchange taking place. Now, for instance, for those of you who have been around for any amount of time on Story Greenlight, you know that I put this thing together, and these are the 27 questions that I ask myself all the time. It's taken me well over 20 years of my career to put this list together, and I put it into a checklist that you can download, and that link for the download is in the description under this video. Here's the thing. I say in that description that it is a free download. It is not free completely. You know, if you want to get technical, there is absolutely an exchange. It is free in the sense that there is not any financial exchange going on. But what happens is I offer this based out of my decades of experience creating content for some of the largest media companies on the face of the planet, and I offer that to you. And in exchange, you click on that link and you say, and it says, great, here's a download. What email address should we send it to? By doing that, you give me permission to keep communicating with you via email. That is the exchange. Information for contact information and your permission to continue talking to you in that medium. So that's, you know, that's an exchange right there. Now, I will say, if you, there is another level up to this. There is another level up to this beyond the free download, because what a lot of people tell me is that, Jeff, I have questions about these. Could you explain these questions more? Could you give some examples of how this stuff works and how I could actually apply that to my videos? And I actually do that. I put together an online video course that is also linked down in the description below. And how that works is, I take my decades of experience and my work on thousands of hours of finished television, and I put that into, and I distill these questions, and I explain them all, and I tell you how you can apply them to your own work. And that exchange in exchange for you, that is your time and, in my opinion, an incredibly affordable amount of financial exchange. So the online video course is a paid exchange. So that's the kind of a thing. But the question that you have to think for yourself is, what is valuable? What is valuable to your people? You know, Tim Schmoyer always talks about the idea of free videos on YouTube providing 1x value. And you need to figure out how to provide something that your audience wants that will be 10 times that value, that will legitimize the person being willing to have financial exchange be a part of the transaction. That's the main thing right there. It is all about the exchange of value. Going to jump back into the comments, see what y'all are saying. Alrighty. So Lewis, what would you recommend, Jeff? Just continue to make content and monetize on the side to supplement your channel, or do the Casey thing and monetize after 100K? Well, number one, continue making content. Continue building the relationships with your people. But there, frankly, in my personal opinion, this is the personal opinion of Jeff, which I'm going to put out there because this is my stream, damn it. I think that people, as we've discussed already, I think people on YouTube are more and more getting used to seeing ads before the videos that they want to watch. Is it annoying? Maybe, maybe not. Do I want to spend 5 seconds waiting before a video starts or whatever? It's like, not particularly, but you know, it's part of the whole thing. It's like on a free, quote unquote, platform like YouTube, that's just the name of the game. Buy the YouTube Premium, you don't have to watch any ads at all. I've heard it's amazing. I haven't done it myself yet because I haven't gotten that annoyed. But for you, but I'm just going to say, I believe that I believe that creators should absolutely, especially with the new bars that have been set, I believe that creators should absolutely turn on monetization once you reach that 1,000 subscriber and 4,000 watch hours barrier, because not just anyone can do that. That takes a lot of effort. That you have to do that, and you have to have people stick around and watch enough so that you actually have to have a clue what you're doing when you get there. And when you do get there, I say that it is far more likely that you will have legitimate, ongoing, like actual relationships with your audience, and they're not going to care if they have to wait 5 seconds. So as far as I'm concerned, I think everyone should turn on monetizing these days as soon as it's available. That's my 2 cents, which is just about all you'd ever get from AdSense for a while. Let's see. Networking groups. Not a fan of the networking groups. Chris Floyd, yeah. Like, ooh, not a fan. Skate Everything Project. Having ads on the Wall Street Journal or some other trusted source of information doesn't turn you off from them if they provide value. You're willing to put up with the ads to get that info. Exactly. And the key in that is the trusted source. If you build an actual relationship with your people and they trust you, and you do everything to maintain that trust by selling from an inspirational model, by offering something that they genuinely do need, and not just like poking on psychological triggers, if that trust is there, absolutely, you are far more likely for people to say, yes, I will give you money. Good day, people of YouTube, says needs more subs. What's up? Good to see you, man. Let's see. And Lewis says, like, so what should we do? Should we sell merch? That is an excellent question, and there is a lot that could be said about that that we don't really have time to talk about today. This is more about how to get your head in a place where to even approach this conversation. So should I sell merch or not is a totally legitimate question. But that's downstream of the bigger 30,000 foot mental stuff that we're going here. Let's see here. Rasmus says this video is lit. Love your way of thinking. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. There's a lot of money to be made on selling people how to make money. Interested, says Chris Floyd. It's true. I mean, I see a lot of the people that I follow on Facebook who have consulting businesses. They're like, here, I'm a coach. Then let me coach you on how to be a coach to other people who are coaches. It's like, it sounds ridiculous, but it's really not all that far off from the truth. It's this total pyramid scheme, and it's just like, it gets pretty incestuous after a while. Lindsay says, if I catch wind that someone's trying to manipulate me, I come back fists up. Yep, I hear ya. Know what mom knows. Hey, know what mom knows. Good to see ya. Let's see. Carissa Lee, that explains a lot about limited time offers. Yes, exactly, because limited availability is a psychological limitation that says, if you want this, by the way, you really do. If you want this, you got to move now. By the way, time is running out, so you better move. It's the fear you're going to miss out. You know, that's, you know, and there. Am I going to say that there's never a place for that? No, I'm not going to say that. But it's really, so much of it comes down to the relationship between the audience. And if you're like, if there's a genuine reason for having a limited time or a limited number of spots available, then totally talk about that. But man, if it's just being manipulative for the sake of being manipulative, just to get more money into the bank account, forget it. Not a fan. Director's logbook. Please write that book, The Personal Opinion of Jeff. Well, hey, I'm open to that. Although, for the record, talking of providing value and writing books, I did actually write a book already. It's linked in the description below here, and just in the boilerplate description of these videos. I did write a book called Edit Better: Hollywood Tested Strategies for Powerful Video Editing, and it's like, it has a huge amount of nuts and bolts. Both from the 30,000 foot side and from the boots on the ground, how you actually do this stuff. So if you do want to learn more about editing, I highly, highly recommend checking out that book. Not everyone on this stream, not everyone who's following Story Greenlight needs to have that book, I will say that. But if you really care about taking your editing, specifically your communication through your editing up to a higher level, then there is huge value in that. And I strongly, strongly urge you to check that out. See, that's some of the things, like, I can say that with 100% belief, because I know what's in that book, because I've lived it. You know, I am living it, like right here. After I eat my salad for lunch, I will continue living what I read, what I wrote in that book. So yeah, it's you have to be able to believe in what you're selling. Because if people talk about manipulation, man, if you do not believe in what you're selling, people can smell fake a mile away. And and I will say, I'm really glad. I'm really glad that people are learning and growing. And I love that platforms like Facebook and YouTube are cracking down on the slimy manipulative crap that everyone always used to do. Let's see. Rasmus, what is your thoughts on emotional attachment to a person as a factor in sales? Like people watching, buying Casey Neistat because they want to see him. That is a huge deal. Celebrity is a huge element of people, is a huge element in why people do or don't buy. The fact of the matter is, like, you could walk down the street and have me holding up a boosted board or something like that, holding up a boosted board and say, hey, check this out. I'm selling this and you should buy it. Most people would not say, I got to get that. But man, you have Casey Neistat walk down the street holding up the exact same boosted board saying, hey, I have this thing, you should buy it. Everyone's like, holy crap, yes, you know, and it's because of his celebrity. That's a big deal. For vloggers, personal channels on YouTube, could that be a strategy? Asks Rasmus. It absolutely could be, and it is. Certainly for people who have large followings, you do end up building an element of notoriety, of personality, of celebrity. So it does require having a large following or having a highly, highly selective, highly engaged following. I do know, I can say confidently that, you know, this channel has over 2,000 subscribers as of this stream, as of this recording right now. I can tell you that were I to walk into the right room at the right time with the right people, there would be some people saying, holy crap, that's Jeff Bartsch. And the fact of the matter is, I would have to be very specific about who those people are and where I show up, because the bulk of the world has no clue who I am. So, you know, celebrity is absolutely relative. Let's see. Flyride. Flyride. I'm all about the exchange for people's attention for my free content, and the money for my paid content feels great. The best feeling is when people are excited to pay. It blows my mind. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool because it's validation, saying it's like, yes, the message to the market match is working, and people are like, yes, I want what you're offering. This will help me. And when people are saying, I'm excited to pull out my wallet, and give you money because what you're offering is going to make my life better, that means that I've figured out some things, that you've figured out some things, that you're bringing value into the world. Okay, I need to, and here I was all concerned that I would, here I was going to be concerned that that I would run out of stuff to talk about. No, I was not concerned that I would run out of stuff to talk about, because I never run out of stuff to talk about on these things. It's always ends up being an hour, even if I want to keep things shorter. So there are lots of other mental blocks that people tend to throw out there, and I will just say stuff like this. Oh, I don't want to look like I'm selling out. It's like, well, if you actually are knowing who your audience is, and you know what they want, and you can deliver something that makes their life better, and that involves a financial exchange, that is not selling out. That is being a provider of value. So that's a mental shift that needs to happen. What about hearing no? What if people will say no? Well, the fact of the matter is, when it comes to selling, on average, most people do say no. That's just the way it is. On online business building, on online marketing, there are a lot of people who get really, really excited about 5% of the people who hear any specific offer saying yes. 5% conversion rate gets a lot of people really excited in online business. You want to talk about something even crazier. You know all that junk mail you get that talks about, hey, donate money to this nonprofit, and it's like, hey, here's a whole bunch of address labels that you didn't actually need, but somehow ends up guilting you into writing a check to this entity. Those campaigns are put together by professionals who know that the overwhelming majority of anyone who gets that mailing in their mail is going to throw it into the trash can without opening it. They architect these campaigns out of the success out of a 0.5% of people saying yes. They might send out 1 million pieces of what we would consider junk mail, knowing that 99.5% of people will say no, but the 0.5% that says yes means that that company makes millions of dollars. Happens all day, every day. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see. And the other, you have to do it for you. Oh, this is such a a seemingly genuine, even pious thing. It's like, you have to be true to yourself. You have to do it for you, because as if doing it for yourself and being aligned with yourself is somehow incompatible about providing value to the world. It's a load of crap, people. Come on. Yes, you should do it for you. That's why you don't. That's why I'm here right now, helping storytellers tell the stories that they helping storytellers tell the stories that they care about the most, instead of me overseeing an apartment complex development, because that's not what I'm into. I do need to have to do this for me, and the fact that I'm here talking with you right now means that I am doing this for me. But that doesn't have anything to do with whether people are providing value into the world or not. It just means that 9 out of 10 times, people who say that, when it comes to selling, they're scared. Straight up, fear. They're scared. Anyway, I could go on and on and on. I actually do need to be aware of the time here, because I am literally on my lunch hour. And so what I'm going to do is leave you with some recommendations. Actually, excuse me, I'm going to leave you with a question. What further questions does this conversation raise for you? If you are watching this live, do me a favor, if you have any other specific questions, drop that in the comments of the video. I would love to see what you're thinking. And if you're seeing this on the replay, drop a comment. Let's talk about this. I will see your comments, and I would love to continue this conversation. Because, man, if you can get this figured out, being aligned with yourself, having value to bring into the world in such a way that the people that you're talking to want it and they will benefit from it, and their life will be better from you providing value, and they're willing to pay you money for it, man, everyone wins and the world becomes a better place. I'm not kidding. Like, this is not hyperbole. This is literally the ideal scenario. I see it happening here with Story Greenlight. I see it happening on so many other channels with friends of mine and people that you all know. And I'm excited about being part of that, because it's a way that we get to make the world a better place. So some really great books that I have come across. I'm gonna recommend this to you. Amanda Palmer wrote a book called The Art of Asking, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Let People Help. Amanda Palmer, achieved some notoriety by being the first person ever to raise $1 million, over $1 million on a Kickstarter campaign. And I will tell you how she did it. You know, this is not spoiling any of the book. She did it by relationships, by built over years and years and years, and dozens of gigs and hundreds and thousands of tweets and emails and exchanges and talking with people and building those relationships. That's why her people love her so much, and they're like, yes, I want to support you. And Amanda talks about some really incredible stuff. I mean, I was listening to this book on Audible, and I was just having to pull over to the side of the road and just scribble notes down in my from these truth bombs that she's dropping. She's saying things like, asking is, this is from Amanda Palmer, asking is at its core a collaboration. Those who can ask without shame are viewing themselves in collaboration with, rather than in competition with, the world. Mind exploded. Yeah, I mean, and she's just dropping stuff like that all the time. And then the other book that I want to recommend to you is Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it is literally that sticker says celebrating 20 years as the #1 personal finance book of all time. I don't think that's an exaggeration. I really do think that's the truth. And the stuff that he talks about there is absolutely life-changing. Even the idea of what the first thing that he talks about is that, and by the way, it's all wrapped up in stories, because he knows how to talk about this stuff. He knows how to make it work. He tells it in a story, as should we all. The rich do not work for money. The money works for the rich. And as he unpacks that idea and you start applying that to your own life, it's like, man, this is a game changer. So those are the two books that I have recommended for you right now, along with Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, talking about the ideas of success and how incredibly successful people did it, and how that and what that means for us. I will include that Outliers link in the description as well. And would you believe those links are affiliate links? So basically, if you click on those links and go to Amazon and buy those books, Amazon says a financial thank you to yours truly. So if you're willing to do that, I would be grateful. Thank you. So if let me just check in really quick. Let's see. Never come out to Oklahoma. I'm running a YouTube meeting. It'd be great to have you sometimes, says Carissa. Awesome. Send me an email. If you're not on my, Carissa, if you are not on my email list, download the 27 questions checklist and respond to that email address, and let's talk about that. Okay. Guys, this is where I need to sign off. And if this has been valuable, I'm hugely grateful for your presence here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your support in the chat. And looking forward to what we're going to be talking about in the comments in the video. And I'll tell you, if this has been valuable, definitely hit that thumbs up button. And remember, at the end of the day, we all need to provide value to the world, because that is how value exchanges is how the world ends up changing for the better. And a huge part of that is in the way that we tell our stories and how we create content and how we provide value to the world. So continue doing that, because the world needs to hear what you have to say. So thanks for hanging out. I will catch you later.